Cool. Where'd you grow up?
in Brentwood, Tennessee.
Okay, you're close. So before you got to Discovery Place, how many different facilities had you been to?
4,
4?
and it was all the same one. I just kept
Okay.
going back to the same
All right.
place.
When you got to Discovery Place 5 years ago, how was it different? Or did you even feel like it was different at first?
I didn't know what to expect when I got here. I knew that it was not a clinical place, and that we were going to do things a little bit different than anywhere I had been. So there was some fear around that, mainly because I was out of my comfort zone. I wasn't going back to the same place that because I tried to go back for a 5th time, and my dad was like, hey, actually, let's try this place. He said, just trust me. And for once I did. And here we are.
Have you found that to be true, that being uncomfortable actually been beneficial? Like walking through uncomfortability or uneasiness has like done you well over time?
Listen, Jonathan, I am the most uncomfortable, nervous person on earth, okay? And what I've done since being out here is I've grown through that. I was talking about this the other day. Like I'm sure I still have a lot of fear, right? But I'm able to show up and just be a part of without feeling insecure and hiding and stuff. There was a time, maybe a year sober, I was living at a house with a couple of guys, and I had some things to do that morning. I had to
Just whatever.
grocery shop and haircut, right? So it's about 10 a.m. I got up, I got down into my boxers to get dressed, and I froze.
Yep.
I couldn't leave the house. I stood there for 20 minutes, just paralyzed with fear, and that won. So I got back in bed and watched TV till I had to go to work at 4.
Yeah, and that's stone cold sober.
Stone cold sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrified.
Were you ever under the impression that like in sobriety, like once you actually got sober, like everything was just gonna be fine?
I didn't know what to expect because the longest I'd ever had was 9 months, and I was just kind of rolling off the fellowship, but I was still full of fear and all this. So I didn't know. I honestly had no idea what to expect.
So in this like fear in everyday life, like what are some tools that you learned here or maybe outside that you kind of help combat that?
Well, first of all, I had to stop taking myself so seriously. Not everything is about me. I promise you, I think everyone is always looking at me or thinking about me. Look what that guy's wearing, all that kind of stuff, right? But in fact, everyone is super selfish and they're not paying attention to you, right? But like, I'm a very selfish person and the world revolves around me, obviously, so.
It's hilarious when we actually take like a look back because, even coming in here, full-blown alcoholic, I was very much just like, well, I'm not really a selfish person. I'm actually a very nice, giving person.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I coming in here, I'm not selfish. I'm like the least selfish person because I do this, and this, right? But my concept of that was completely skewed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to actually take a look about it and be like, oh, everything I did was just like, I guess you can say my will. But yeah, it was very self-centered on everything.
Absolutely.
Even the fear.
Yeah, because it's all self-centered fear, right? It has nothing to do with anybody but myself.
Yeah.
It's always about me. And so, there's all kinds of things that can, work for that. It's doing uncomfortable things for one thing.
Yeah.
That stuff seems to get better.
So like in sobriety, I hear, a lot people say the terms like, oh, my alcoholism is acting up. I heard a quote one time is I never suffered from alcoholism till I got sober. I forget who said that, but like, what does that kind of mean to you? Like, what does that mean to where like your disease manifests in sobriety? Like, what does that kind of look like?
It looks like obsession a lot of times. So, in active addiction, you obsess over the drugs or alcohol that you're going after, right? How I'm going to get it, how I'm going to get the money, when am I going to get it, all those things. You just obsess over the rituals, all that, right? And so when I get sober, I still find myself obsessing
Yeah.
over things, whether it's, is this person going to, you reaching out, is somebody going to, it's just simple as checking your phone constantly for like a text,
Right.
or like I want new things, right? And it's
How
just,
many likes did I get
how
on
many
that
likes
post?
did I get? How many, like I really want these new pair of shoes, but I can't spend the money. So you like keep just obsessing over these shoes, and a lot of times that wins out, and I'll just buy it, and I'll learn how to,
Yeah.
I'll deal with the money fallout later.
That's one of the things that I learned in that I appreciate about like sobriety is like we don't do this thing perfectly,
Oh, absolutely not.
but we're given the grace, if you will, to like be unperfect, and that's okay. Like that was always I always thought like living like a sober life also meant living a perfect life.
Yeah, no, that's, and I love that you said grace. That's one of my favorite, we'll say, tools,
Yeah.
To use for myself and for others. It's not always easy, but like, I want grace shown to me so much because, like
Yeah.
you said, I am not perfect and I mess up all the time,
Yeah.
whether it's actions or words
Yeah.
that come out of my mouth, and so I need to give other people the same that I want.
Has there been like for like on a lighthearted note, have there been moments where you've needed to give some grace to like guests here because you're the director of our third phase property, but like any instances where you're like I don't know, some of the wacky behavior that's that goes on here.
Sure, it went on this morning.
Yeah.
Before I came over here.
So a lot of guys when they get here too, they need to get going. They need to do this. They have the obsession. What are like some instances where guys are trying to kind of like steer the ship?
Sure. Well, since the guys are allowed to work a little bit in our third phase, what I see mainly is immediately a full-time 40, 60 hour a week job.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, they're just gung-ho about it, and they need to slow down.
Yeah.
We all need to slow down. Like that's, so that's a big one that I see. A lot of times when the guys have made it this far, like they're comfortable and it's their choice actually to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't run into a whole lot that we see here on main campus.
Yeah.
But it's the big full-time job in a big career that they're after almost immediately, and that's scary.
What's a suggestion that you took that you just really didn't want to do? It could have been a couple things, and then like in hindsight, if that actually affected you positively.
It was say yes to everything.
Yep, just across the board.
Yep, because I'm not a yes man.
Yep. Why is that?
Because I'm selfish.
Yeah.
Because I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I said yes in the beginning every time.
Yep.
And further in my journey, I still say yes, but I'm busy.
What does like a life of service mean to you?
Getting out of myself.
How do you do that?
Well, so a life of service. Listen, when I got here, there was so much love, and everyone, the air was different. This was genuine when I got here. Not that other places aren't, but everyone seemed genuine, and they're here to help.
What does getting out of self mean to you? And also, how do you get out of self?
Show up. Show up.
Do what you say you're going to do?
Do what you say you're going to do. Absolutely. That's the best way.
Yeah.
And hey, what do you need?
Yep.
Take the focus off of me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about drinking when I'm helping somebody.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah, I
isn't
know.
it?
It's
Yeah.
weird. It's the weirdest thing to actually take the suggestions. Okay, so what advice would you give someone who may have an issue with addiction or alcoholism, but is on the fence about coming to treatment?
It can't hurt anything. It can't. It's a blip in the rest of your life. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Like, have some faith.
Faith in the process, faith in whatever. There's a term that we hear in recovery called "it's not them." What does that mean?
No, it means that we're in trouble because I'm the problem.
Yeah.
You know, there's a thing. If I'm disturbed, there's something wrong with me, and that's a hard one to look at.
One of the things I heard that I did not like was, how can you be okay with them being wrong?
And also, I say this to myself a lot, right? Do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? And being right sometimes wins out, to be honest with you. but like, it has helped so much. It really has. Because like, I want to be happy. Like, that was my goal getting sober. It's like, I want to be happy, right? I've been miserable for 20 years. So, I can swallow my pride and say, you might be right. That's the best thing to do. You might be right.
Just walk away.
And walk away.
Walk away.
Yeah.
What's a thing that you thought you needed to be happy, whether in addiction or sobriety, that was kind of an illusion that, could have even, hindered you later on?
Relationships, money, always the bigger, newer thing, all the things,
What actually makes you happy today?
literally the simple things, like going to Kroger.
Yeah. Sparkling water.
Sparkling water.
Self-love.
My favorite things to do in sobriety is go to the movies with my friends, find any concert I can go to, that kind of thing. Baseball, I've gone to a lot of baseball games.
If you could go back during your 5 years of sobriety, and I don't believe in, like changing anything because it all gets you to where you're at now. But if you could look back at one part of your kind of early sobriety just to watch yourself change to where, maybe something really shifted or a new perspective presented itself, like around like how long in sobriety, because it's 5 years, it could be at year 3, it could be at month 3. Would you go back to like kind of watch that perspective change in yourself? Or where do you think it changed?
About a year in, maybe even 6 months. It's when I actually I did 6 months of treatment. When I got out, I was immediately hired here, and that was I'm so honored for that, and I haven't left. Like, I love this place, and so I think that was a big point. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be out here.
Dig in the heels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. I'm glad you did.
Me too.
Yeah. So that's good because I got Pilates in about 10 minutes. So, yeah, I think we're good.
All right, that's lunch, guys.
That's lunch, guys.